What's up guys, welcome back to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare video, and in today's video I will be telling you guys how you can get your hands on an early copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So this doesn't just apply to Modern Warfare, it applies to pretty much every video game or any item out there. These are all pretty simple tips and ways you guys can get early copies of games, of movies, whatever it may be. But specifically we're going to be talking about Modern Warfare, and I'm going to be sharing some of my experience of getting games early and specific locations as well. So before we get started with today's video, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We're going to have a lot of Modern Warfare videos coming out in the next couple days, as well as when the game launches on October 25th. So make sure you guys are subscribed with notifications on, that you guys don't miss out. But first off, let's go over the #1 place you guys can get video games, or Modern Warfare specifically, early. And that is, the easiest way, the #1 way you guys can get games early is if you know somebody who can get it to you early. So I know some of you guys this won't apply to you, and this doesn't seem like a tip or a way you guys can get it early, because obviously if you know somebody who can get it to you early, you're probably not going to be watching this video because you're already going to have a hookup and a source from it. But maybe you know somebody who works at somewhere such as GameStop or Best Buy or any sort of game shop or anything like that who might be able to get it to you early. Maybe they work at a distribution center. Maybe they're just like you or me and they know a guy. So you know a guy who knows a guy. This is the best and safest way for you to get Modern Warfare early, because if you know somebody and you're friends with them, they're not going to rip you off, at least hopefully, in theory. They're most likely not going to rip you off. They're not going to scam you out of whatever, how much money, and they're more likely to do this rather than some random person that you don't know and asking them to get you the copy of the game early and just trying to trust some random person. Whereas if you know them and they're your friend, then they're more likely to do it and not rip you off or anything like that. So if you know somebody who works at some place that can get it early, that is probably your best shot at getting it. Although, be careful with this though, because they may in fact lose their job. So if they work at some place like GameStop or Best Buy or kind of wherever, their job may actually be on the line for this. So make sure that they are not going to end up losing their job because of this. That would be very bad, and I would absolutely hate for that to happen. The second place is if you guys know of a specific website or marketplace to get it early. Activision tracks a lot of main marketplaces for copies of games early, so even places like Best Buy and Walmart and stuff like that, and even GameStop, they may actually like track the inventory and see if any of the inventory are missing. So instead, if you are trying to find a game early and maybe you don't know somebody, you can try specific online marketplaces or websites or even like local marketplaces to see if anybody has it early. This can be kind of sketchy though if you don't know where to look. I know Shop2 has a history and a reputation of shipping games early, but I'm pretty sure they're from the United Kingdom, so international shipping and getting the game early might be kind of a hassle. You can also try the deep web or the dark web, some of those kind of sketchy online marketplaces to get the game early. In theory, it's a lot safer for somebody to sell it through a place like that rather than any other place, because Activision has been trying to crack down on this, and they've even come after some people who try and sell early copies of games. There's actually, even this year, Activision has been going after people who have been buying the games early. Instead, they've been contacting them and basically telling them that if they will ship Activision the game, their game that they purchased and they have early, if they ship Activision that game, Activision will then send them a digital code to redeem to play when the game is officially released. So obviously nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna just ship the game to Activision. They're just trying to get people to, give up their early copies of these. There's not much they can do, and just be aware, they're not gonna ban you for this. You're not gonna get banned from Xbox, from PlayStation, or Battle.net or whatever by playing an early copy, and you're also not gonna get banned from Activision servers as well. Your Call of Duty account's not gonna get reset or banned or anything from the game. Tons of people get early copies, and we have been for years, and you're gonna be fine because the servers and game copies go out early anyways for press and for the media. So YouTubers and media companies who review the game, they all get early copies of the game, so that way they can actually do their proper reviews and media coverage of the game. And so alongside them, other people like YouTubers and streamers also get it early through third-party sources, and even Activision themselves sends out early copies to specific YouTubers and streamers and influencers. The second tip, just overall, is just if you know of a specific place to get it early, make sure you do your research though, that you don't get ripped off, and you also are able to verify the shipping. That way it gets shipped to you on time and it gets shipped to you before release, because they might ship it a couple days before release, but the shipping might get messed up and you might not even receive the game until after it already comes out. So you're paying all this money and you might not even get it early. And that's another overall tip here is pricing and shipping. So first off, be prepared to pay upwards of 10 times the price of the copy of the game. So if you're going out there and you're expecting to buy an early copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare for $60, you are going to be SOL. It is not going to happen. Nobody is out there risking their jobs or a huge fine or anything like that just for $60. And instead, what you're going to find for a lot of these early copies is they're going to be in like at least $200. I say anything below $200, be skeptical of, because that's more likely a scam. Whereas if you see somebody who's offering an early copy of the game for $400, that's probably pretty legit. So early copies of games are pretty expensive. And then also be aware of shipping if you're buying it online. Make sure you guys have it overnighted. I can't stress that enough. I've had personal issues with shipping where I haven't received a game when I thought I was going to get it and the shipping got messed up. And so I didn't get the game as early as I expected, so I spent a lot of money and I didn't get the game when I thought I was going to get the game. So make sure you guys are talking to whoever's selling the game, whatever you're buying it from, and make sure you guys are getting it overnighted or literally the fastest possible shipping. The worst thing you could do is if you spend $600 for an early copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare and it gets shipped, but it doesn't even show up until Friday or Saturday or something like that when the game's already come out. But place number 3 where you guys can get Call of Duty Modern Warfare early is eBay. Now this one is very likely, so you guys can almost always find early copies of games on eBay, although you always have to act fast because early copies of games sell very quickly and you guys definitely don't want to miss out on this. So you always want to be checking and refreshing the page on eBay to try and find early copies of the game. One thing I've noticed too about eBay is you also want to have your filter set to all departments, not just video games, because some sellers don't specifically like sell it under a video game, they just sell it as like a general item. And so if you're filtering it by video games, you won't find that item, it won't show up in your search. But eBay is a pretty reliable place to get early copies of games. There are some sketchy sellers on there. I personally ran into a couple sketchy sellers on eBay, and I'm going to tell you guys a couple stories about that. One is that I found a guy who was selling a copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare for like $300 on eBay, and he had 2 images of the item. One of them was taken from Twitter. Somebody who actually had a copy of the game posted an image on Twitter of an early copy of the game, and they posted that Thursday, whereas on Sunday, this guy posted this listing on eBay and included that same image, as well as he also posted an in-game image from somebody who posted that on Reddit a couple of days prior. So this guy had already used images. These weren't new images, so this was 100% a scam. So make sure you guys, if you guys find places like this, make sure you guys reverse image search those images to find out if they are original images, if like the seller actually took them themselves, or if they just stole it off of Reddit or Twitter or somebody else who might have like actually got their hands on a physical copy of the game. And story number 2 on eBay, I posted a picture of this on Twitter, but he was selling a copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare for between like $375 and $400. And after he bought the game, he received a message, and after he already paid the money and the money came out of his account, he received a message saying that the copy of the game was broken and that he was not able to actually send the copy of the game to this buyer. And so he had to refund his money. He didn't actually get a refund, so he had to contact eBay to get a refund. And that's another thing about eBay though, is eBay has a great return and refund policy. So if you do get scammed by somebody on eBay, there is a very high likely chance that you will be able to get your money back. And then there's also methods you can do with your bank where you can like dispute it as a fraudulent charge and get your money back that way. But eBay is a really welcome place to get it early. The next one would be a mom and pop shop. So if you guys know of any local video game retailers besides Walmart, Target, Best Buy, and GameStop, none of these huge national chains, but instead a small game shop within your town, ones that they might not appear at the top of the list on Google, but if you know of like a small shop that sells video games, I would say go in and talk to them in person, because a lot of times these games actually do still get the games for release night. And any store that sells a product that has a specific release date, they always get them in early. So you might be able to go to this mom and pop shop, just a small game store, and you might be able to tell them like, hey, I want to buy an early copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Here's $400, you know, can we just like slip this under the table? And a lot of these places might do that because they might not see a lot of business. So for them, a one-time sale of Call of Duty Modern Warfare for $300 would be like selling 5 normal copies of the game. So these places are probably one of your best bets as well, especially if you know somebody who works at one of these places. They're easy to do business under the table with, plus it's a physical place you can go to and you can pick up your game right there. It's really hard to get ripped off because they'll have to hand you a physical copy of the game and you'll be handing them cash and you'll be able to just leave with the copy in your hand. You don't have to worry about them shipping it to you, about you getting it late, because you'll have it right there in your hands. So there's no harm in asking these places about it. The worst thing they can do is say no. I've personally talked to some of the places around me and they've all said no. They say that there's no way that they're able to sell games early like that, because if a publisher catches on and catches them, then they will end up like losing all distribution rights to that store, and that store will not receive any new video games for the rest of time, and they're going to lose out on a lot of money for selling a game early. So for some places it's not worth it to make $400 in one purchase, but for other people they might go for that. Also, something to note, you might be able to talk to somebody at GameStop as well, even if you don't know them. As long as they're like a lower level employee, they might be able to do that for you, as long as like their manager doesn't hear. Or it could even be the opposite, where if you just specifically talk to the manager might slip you an early copy of the game, whereas like a normal low level employee might be too afraid to do so by risking their job. Number 5, and the second to last place you guys can get an early copy of Modern Warfare, is on Twitter. So you might not think like Twitter, like people buy things off Twitter. Well, the way you guys can get early copies is by people post a lot of copies of Modern Warfare and video games early on Twitter. They'll post pictures of it. They'll even post tweets that say like, hey, I've got early copies of this video game or whatever. I have early copies of Modern Warfare. DM me for the details. And you DM them and they'll basically tell you how much, where it's located, and you can work out all the details there. Send money through PayPal. And just another thing, a lot of places like PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App, they have pretty good return and refund policies. So you are able to get your money back if like they don't actually send you the item, or if it doesn't show up on time, or it's just a scam and it's a fake listing, then you're usually able to get your money back. Although, just make sure you guys are cautious about this and make sure you guys are doing all your research about this before you spend a lot of money in hopes to get a game early. And now the 6th and final method to get a copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare early. If none of these other methods have worked out for you, this is how you might be able to do it. You might be able to buy the copy of the game in an early region. And by early region, I mean a region like Australia or Japan or Korea, where the game will actually release earlier than it will in North America and Europe. So the downside to something like this is that a lot of times you have to create a new Xbox or a new PlayStation account or something like that and have it specifically signed up as an account from one of those regions. And also a lot of times too, you'll need a payment from one of those regions. So if you try and buy something from Australia but you're trying to use like an American credit card, a lot of times it won't actually work, or it'll actually trip your like credit card's like fraud protection, because it's trying to make a purchase from like Australia but you're located in like the United States or something like that. So this can be difficult. And another downside to this, why this is at the bottom of the list, is because you are only going to be getting the game a couple hours early through this method. The upside is that you're only spending the normal amount of money. You're only spending like your $60 or whatever. But the downside is that you're only getting it a couple hours earlier than you would if you just bought the game normally in your standard region. So there you guys go. That is how you guys can get early copies of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and even any video game going forward. So for Black Ops 5 next year, this is how you guys are going to be able to get early copies of that as well. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you guys are being safe about this as well. I would recommend doing reverse image searching as well, and looking up different sources to find out if they have a reputation for being legit or a scam. And just overall be smart about this, guys. Expect to pay a lot, and also maybe like temper your expectations as well, because you might only get the game 1 or 2 days early. Sometimes you'll see people getting copies of games a week, 2 weeks early. That's usually like 5 or 6 people in the entire world, and they're obviously not going to be watching a YouTube video as to how to do that. So if you guys are watching this video, remember all those different things I said in this video. Make sure to be safe and be smart about this as well. So if this helped you guys out, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I'll see you guys next time.